Hello everyone, welcome to the Take Care Man channel. My name is Todd and my goal on this channel is to equip men to take better care of themselves. So on the last day of 2019, I was brainstorming ideas about how to do a countdown of the products that I most enjoy within the hobby of traditional wet shaving. And so I came up with the idea of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 countdown, which became a challenge video, a tag video. And in that video, what I did is I named the 5 shaving soaps I would keep if I could only keep 5, the 4 post-shave products I would keep, the 3 shaving brushes I would keep, the 2 razors I would keep, and the 1 double-edged safety razor blade I would keep. And when I started that challenge, I just challenged a few friends I had in the traditional wet shaving community, and I had no idea it would take off like it did. Well, here we are just a little bit over a year later, and it resulted in 72 total shavers doing the video, which resulted in over 1,200 individual picks of products from across those videos. Now, that's not going to exactly add up to the 15 times 72 because you had some people list more than others. So in many cases, I included additional products if people were really passionate about that product and made good reasons to include it in their countdown. Now, it would be too long of a video to focus on each of those categories in one video. So in this video, I'm just going to focus on the soap picks and what the results were. So what I've done is I've watched all of those videos. I've compiled all the results into a spreadsheet, which I'll be sharing with you viewers later. I'll be giving you a link to that. And I basically wanted to analyze and see what were the most popular picks of each of those product categories. And so in this video, we're just going to cover the soap. So there was a total of 396 individual soap picks in these 72 videos. Some people listed their favorite brands and didn't mention specific scents, while other people mentioned specific scents from particular artisans or larger companies. So they mentioned both brand and scent of shaving soap. Now, it's important to note that many people said that they picked their picks because of scent or performance, but a lot of the picks were nostalgic or sentimental, that people had a connection to it. Maybe it reminded them of a loved one, or someone gifted it to them, or it reminded them of something from their childhood. So people selected to keep 5 soaps for a variety of different reasons. So the reason people selected these were not the same for each shaver. It's also important to note that as I analyzed these, I sort of stayed base agnostic, and by that I mean I did not pay a whole lot of attention when people mentioned specific bases unless I knew that there was a tremendous change from one base to the other. Now in the wet shaving hobby from artisans, the changes to new bases tend to be incremental and not as wide of a jump as you would think. So when I'm mentioning these results, I'm not going to talk much about the name of the particular base the soap was mentioned in. I'm just going to mention the brand and the scent. So let's start out by talking about the top soap brands that emerged when analyzing the results from all these videos. So let's first look at this first tier of brands, and we're going to start with Sterling, which nudged out Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement by 1 vote. So Sterling Soap Co. had a total of 31 picks from the shavers in terms of soaps that were mentioned that they would keep in their collection if they could only keep 5. And as you can see, 30 picks were for Phoenix Artisan Accoutrement soaps. Now again, some of these soaps were specific scents, but sometimes the shavers just mentioned anything from that particular brand. Following close behind, I combined Ariana and Evans and the Shaving Shop Club soaps. So I combined those together into one category. So for A&E plus the club, we have 28 total picks of shaving soaps, followed closely by Barrister Man with 26 picks. And I'm going to break down each of these brands into top scents for those brands in just a moment. Let's move to this next tier. We have CBL soaps with 17 picks. And it's important to note that a lot of the early videos in this series were done by members of a forum called the Shaving Cadre, and the owner of CBL Soaps is also one of the owners or operators of the Shaving Cadre forum. And so there were a lot of people within those initial videos that really knew this soap and therefore picked it. Next is Katie's Bubbles with 14 picks, then Mitchell's Wolfat with 12. And of course, there's only 1 scent for Mitchell's Wolfat, and that's their Wolfat, which is unscented. And then this tier, we had 10 each of Declaration Grooming and Parasso, and then 8 each of Razor Rock, Murphy and McNeil, Zingari Man, and Wickham 1912 soaps. Now let's get into the top scents from each of those top brands. Now in a moment, I'm going to break down the most picks per scent and brand, but let's look at the top brands and the top scents within those brands first. So from the top artisan, Sterling Soap Co., The number one most mentioned soap were 3 mentions of Barbershop, and then 2 mentions for Margaritas in the Arctic, and 2 mentions for Christmas Eve. And for Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, there were 2 mentions each for Black Bot, Boomtown Bay Rum, Cad, Praise John From, Old Salty, and Organism 46B. For the A&E Plus Club brand, you had 6 votes for Asian Plum, 3 votes for Kaizen, and that's not just the base, but the specific soap scent called Kaizen in the Kaizen base. And then 2 votes each for Khalifa, SoCal Hipster, Pedro Fiasco, and Signature. Moving on to Barrister and Mann, 6 votes for Seville, 5 votes for Fougère Gothique, 3 votes for Leviathan, and then 2 votes each for Fougère Angelique, Vespers, and Terror. From the CBL soap lines, the most mentioned soap was the Roasted Oatmeal Stout, and then the second most picked from CBL was Dragon's Blood. For Katie's Bubbles, the most picked soap was La Terre Verte with 4 votes. And then La Marche du Rosage, or as some people call it, LMDR, is probably what I should call it because I can't pronounce it either, and Purple Grapefruit, and the Clutch from Perfumology. It was a collaboration between Katie's Bubbles and Perfumology. Those got 2 votes each. For Parasso, there were 5 votes for green and 2 votes for Parasso Red, the sandalwood. And then for Murphy & McNeil, the most mentioned soap was Nataheya with 5 votes. And for Zingari Man, the most mentioned scent was Wanderer with 2 votes. And then for Wickham 1912, both Club Cola and Russian Leather had 2 mentions each. Now let's look at the top scents across all brands. So we'll go in descending order from the soaps mentioned most often to the soaps listed at least twice. So leading the pack by far for a specific soap is Mitchell's Wool Fat, which is an unscented soap. And in fairness, Mitchell's only has 1 version of their soap. So other artisans certainly had more picks, as you saw from all the brands that had more than 12 picks. Tabac had 6 votes, and again, only 1 kind of soap. A&E Asian Plum, which we mentioned, had 6. Barrister and Mann Seville also had 6. And Parasso Green and Murphy & McNeil Nataheya had 5 mentions, as we've already talked about. And then 3 soaps that receive 4 mentions each are Noble Otter's Noir et Vanille. I'm sure I said that wrong. Katie's Bubbles La Terre Verte, which we mentioned. Also probably saying that wrong. And then Cella Red also had 4 mentions. And then here are the ones with 3 mentions. Tobbs Grapefruit, Soap Commander Honor, the Palmolive Stick, First Canadian Shave Dickens Cider, Sterling Barbershop, Ariana and Evans Kaizen, Barrister and Mann Leviathan, and Fine's American Blend. And then I don't read you all these that had 2 mentions each, but you see them listed here on the screen, and I'll leave it here for a second for you to look at. But basically that's from the most specific mentioned soap, and in some cases it was an unscented soap or a scented soap. But then what you had earlier was a listing of, just by brand, the most common picks. So I want to thank everyone who participated in making this video. You can see all their faces here. Some people's faces were cut off in their videos, or they didn't show their face in their videos, or a couple people who deleted videos, but I think I pretty much captured everyone here in this image. So thanks again to all of them for making the video. Now, I will be doing the post-shave products, the brushes, the razors, and the blades in upcoming videos soon. And I'll also be giving you a link to a spreadsheet with all the picks. I'm still cleaning it up a little bit, but I'll give it to you and you'll be able to go in and look at all these soap picks and the other categories very soon. In the description below, I'll also link to the playlist with all of these videos from the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 challenge. Now, I do plan to do a 2021 version of this, sort of a version 2.0, and I won't tag specific people, but I'll just do it as an open tag for anybody else that wants to participate in the version 2.0. And I think what I'm going to do this year is I'm going to say you have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can use each of those for a particular category, but you can mix it up. So for example, some people, even in this version 1, they mentioned like 5 razors and let's say 4 brushes and only mentioned 2 soaps or 1 post shave. I would like to just sort of say to people, hey, use those votes as you'd like to in the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 version 2.0. Again, thanks to everyone who did this video. I can't believe the number of people who did it. I'm absolutely blown away by it and honored that so many of you did it. Thanks to all of you who watched any of those videos and commented and participated. I would ask you to consider doing one this upcoming year. I particularly want to thank Anthony Vincent for summarizing his video for me. My father-in-law passed away last week, and I reached out on the Wet Shaving Content Creators group on Facebook and asked some folks to help me out with summarizing those, and Anthony stepped up and helped me summarizing his video. So I want to say a special thank you to him. So I hope you enjoyed the summary of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 challenge soap category. Again, those other categories are coming up soon. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care, man.